The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Veterans Forum. This program is coming to you from the studios of Nashua Access Television here in Nashua, New Hampshire. Today is the 15th of January, 2016. I've been told that this is the 124th, the 125th program that we've done. The program is entitled the Veterans Forum because that's what we're trying to do, is to give every guy and gal who served in any of the branches of any war their chance to record what they did, how they did, and more important, how it has contributed to the overall history of our country. Now, before I start, though, I'd like to remind you there's a special telephone system set here in this state. The number is 211. Any guy and gal who may need help, or maybe if your friends think you need some help, use that number. It'll put you in contact with the cadre of all kinds of talent and people who can and will do the best they can to give you the service you need. You have to ask for it, though, and it will not be given to you. You have to ask for it. The only requirement is you have to have at least 6 months good service and an honorable discharge. After that, it's all open and it's wonderful. I know it works because a lot of the guys have said, hey, thank you for the help. Now, this program is being put together in conjunction with the Library of Congress's Veterans History Project. Now, that's been in vogue, if you will, since the year 2000, where they have asked stations such as this throughout the country, and guys like me, if they can and will put their time and talent to giving these guys and gals that chance to record what they did. I've had the fun, if you want to call it that, of interviewing several POWs. The stories were great, but the most important thing was one of the fellows gave me my best selling point if I have to sell this program, in that they define this as perhaps one of the best legacies that you can leave for your family. The bottom line is, as we go through history, we're fighting the clock and the calendar now. Old guys like me, World War II, and then coming up, Korea, Vietnam, Desert Storm, Desert Steel, and all the others that seem to be coming along. We all had the same purpose. We had a job to do, and we did it. But the bad part is, if you don't tell your story, nobody else will, and that's lost forever. So please, if you're on the cusp, come give us a shot. It won't cost you a nickel. Maybe you have to help pay for the postage, but we won't sweat that. But the bottom line is, it's your show. We're recording history as it was made by the people who did it. Nothing Hollywood, nothing special. You can't get any closer truth to that. I'm going to ask Bill to introduce himself right now so we can get this show on the road. Bill, if you will, tell us your name, spell your last name, where you live, your branch of service, and your years of service.
Hi. I'm Bill William Rolke.
Okay.
Okay.
How do you spell your last name? So we can
R-O-L-K-E. All right. That's an old German there.
Yes, well.
Okay. And I was born
whoa. Where do you now live in branch of service and years of service?
Oh, the branch of service. I was in the Army, and many different things in the Army. So I'll try and line
We'll pick up that later, but you were in the Army from when to when?
Oh, from 1943 to 1946.
Good.
And,
okay.
okay.
Now, while we're talking, they'll be showing a picture of you way back when. And this is what I'd like you to identify. This is the three guys. You are the guy on the right-hand side, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's me.
That's what Bill used to look like, folks. And we all have the same trouble. The photographs are getting a little bit brown and ripped along the edges,
Yeah.
but they bring back a lot of good memories. Okay.
There's a lot of young kids.
Yeah. Fuzzy face and didn't care and didn't know about a thing.
Right.
Okay.
That's right.
Now, one more, and then we'll take off of the show. But this is before you, and this is you, I guess,
Yeah.
at boot camp?
In the Camp Bowie in Texas.
Okay,
And
good.
the training sessions.
All right. I'm going to hang on just for a couple of minutes. Now, what I'd like to do, now that we know who you are, what you did, basically, let's go back and find out how you got here. Like, for example, if you will, where and when were you born? What was your life like as a kid growing up? What was your family life like?
Okay.
Anything to make it interesting. Brothers and sisters, what have you.
Yeah. I was an only child, so that cuts
Takes
out.
care of tradition number 2.
Okay. Now,
Where and when were you born?
I was born in Struthers, Ohio. And as an only child.
What year?
1921.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to bring you into the world somehow.
Yeah, I'm in the world there. And I went to Poland, Youngstown, Poland, high school and grade school.
Uh-huh. Now, how were you in student? Were you a good student?
No.
In any activities, sports?
Not really very many. I was an only student, never got a tough time to do anything because it was about 3 miles from school. And the only way I could get there is walk, except the school buses. And my time was pretty well taken.
Just getting
walking
to
back
and from,
forth.
huh?
Yeah.
Now, did you actually really walk 3 miles each way every day?
I traveled at least one of those days.
Okay, did you meet somebody, get a ride in, or they
Yeah.
look for you along the
The
way?
bus in the morning. And
Okay.
I couldn't wait until the bus came to pick me up in the evening. So I walked home to be home before
None of the neighbors going by would pick you up, get to know you at all?
well, there weren't any.
Okay, I had to ask. If you don't tell me, I can't fill the blanks in. Now, during school, though, were you in any activities like a drama club, any sports? Or?
I was in a photo club in school.
Okay.
And
Little
was
black
about-
and white 120 film.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you enjoy it? Were you good at it?
I made average pictures of my own and didn't make anything special. We had our own. It was,
Did you have your own darkroom or your class darkroom?
we had 4 people in the club. It was a small school, and we learned what every little staff like that gets.
Okay.
We all black and white.
Well, that's all we had back when you were
Yeah,
just
right.
having a camera in those days was a miracle.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Now, how'd you do in high school?
Well, I was helper in the classes, sports,
Helper meaning what?
helper.
Manager of the team?
Manage the team and getting the uniforms straightened around.
Okay.
And so I wasn't big enough and heavy enough to handle any of the sports myself.
Well, they're basically what, football and baseball, or they have basketball in those days?
They had basketball and basketball. That was all we
How
had.
about football?
No football.
No football.
Not until I was a senior.
Okay, but that was part of the school.
Yeah. So
Now,
And-
after school, did you have a job? We had work. Now, how was your life living?
Oh,
What
yeah.
did your dad do to make a living for you people?
he worked in a steel mill. And in the family, my uncle was in the was in steel mill. My cousin was in the steel mill.
And where were the steel mills located? In Pittsburgh?
Most of them in Youngstown.
Ohio.
Yeah. Ohio.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was it.
Well, did you start working in a steel mill when you got through high school?
I started working in the steel mill.
Doing what?
I was a chemist in the chem lab.
How did you get in there?
Smart.
Pardon?
Smart.
Now, what was your job to do? To analyze the coal content to make the steel, is that right?
The carbon and so forth in the steel. Yeah, the amount. Mhm.
Okay, and how often did you have to do that testing?
Well, there was 60 tests a day. We made steel in about 20 bins of coal, which was heated, and then taken in the chemical test.
Okay, and was that for the whole plant or just for one
Just-
particular group?
One group of about 100 men.
Oh, okay, so each had your own chemical analysis, shipping in, shipping out. and so on.
Right, yeah.
Okay, it's good to know because a lot of people don't know what it takes.
Yeah,
Now,
that's true.
did you ever have to go out on the floor and watch the guys shoveling the coal in and doing all that kind of stuff, or were you confined to the laboratory?
We were confined to the laboratory, but you could see it happening across the little
The work area?
work area. Yeah.
Now,
Port-
this is something, I've seen a lot of pictures about the steel business and so
Yeah.
forth. And what was your reaction the first time you saw one of those big blast furnaces
Well,
dumping all that coal or steel out of them?
I saw them from the time I was born. Those were blown out into the sky, and you saw that all your life,
All your life?
all my life.
That's a lot of coal.
It sure is.
All right. Now, how long did you do that before you? Now, you then were drafted into the Army, or did you enlist?
I was drafted in the Army.
Okay. When were you drafted? Right from your job at the steel mill?
1943.
Okay. How'd you go and where'd you get there? Where did you go to be enlisted in, or sworn in?
Salem, Salem, Ohio.
Okay.
And it was a take the tests that they give you, and we just went into the gymnasium in.
Raise your right
and then
hand.
take the test.
Okay.
So
And what was the test for? To give you an idea what you. ASTP?
Yeah.
Okay.
That tells you where they assign you to go to. They're going to put you in the Army, whether you were doing anything. I'd been working in the chemistry lab, and they sent me to the chemical warfare department in the Army.
Okay, now I have a picture here. Two I want to show. One is you in, I guess it's boot camp
Yeah.
at Camp Bowie in Texas.
Yeah.
And Yippee, that's not the guy we see in the first picture or the guy we see here today.
Yeah.
But that was you, right?
Right.
Way
That's
back
what
when.
I turned
Now-
out to be.
Now, your sons gave us a couple of copies here of you in your different chemical gear that you had. I guess it looks like mad hat, hazmat rather kinds of stuff.
Well,
And
okay.
that was where at Chemical Warfare School in 1942.
Yeah.
Good-looking dude back then, I guess. But
There's
something
a
on a space
gas mask on.
mask, yeah. Now, classic question. What was your reaction when you were sworn in and brought to the induction center? You were no longer a civilian. You were now a soldier in the Army. What was your first couple of weeks in boot camp like? You remember? Anything outstanding, good, bad, or otherwise? How was your first reaction?
We're out of the house. We're living on our own. We had a lot of freedom.
Okay, good or bad? Did you have any kind of a program? Well, the first couple of days, were you picking up your gear, getting your shots, that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, tell us about it. What was your reaction?
Well, it's kind of a long ways away now.
Okay.
And we knew we were meeting new friends, and they were all interested in the same thing. We were taking courses that the Army had.
Courses in what? To do what?
Learn how to work the gas mask, what kind of gas it was, learn what it smells like, learn how to walk.
You mean drilling? Marching?
Well, yeah.
Okay. Clomp, clomp, clomp. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what you learn.
How about armament work, shooting rifles, guns, pistols, sidearms?
That didn't come till later.
Okay, well, bring us up along so we can figure what you did.
Okay. We were early enough in the war that they didn't have all the supplies you needed, and we would take wooden copies of guns, and we would go bang, bang.
Bang, 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 I got you.
Yeah.
Like kids do with cap pistols.
But we were actually listed as a non-combatant, that we were non-combatant.
I was like a medical corps then. You're like a medic,
Well,
non-combatant.
yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
But you still had to qualify for as a rifleman if you're in the infantry,
Yeah,
no matter what.
when we got the rifles, then we went out to the range.
What were the old 03s or the carbines?
Yeah, the old
or what?
3.
Okay.
Yeah, and we got a range experience, and you got to be out in the range in each position.
Okay.
Being out.
And did you qualify for sharpshooter, marksman, expert?
Yeah. And they were, you got to work out on the targets. And
back in the pits?
In the pits.
Pulling them down, shooting them up, spotting them, yeah.
Target up, target.
How'd you feel when you were back in the pits?
Noisy.
I know.
The guns go off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And there's long stories about that.
Okay. Well, that's what we're here to find out. You keep saying long story, then you shut up. That's a hell of a way to spare interest. Okay. Now, how long before you were, quote, qualified or ready to go overseas, and where and when did you go?
Okay. We got our 13 weeks in, and
That was the end of your boot camp?
boot camp. Yeah.
Okay. Did you have a 10-day leave?
We had no,
No leave?
and we were one company. That was the only one that was there, and we started another company we were a cadre for another company. So we had two companies in the chemical, and we was starting another one.
Well,
That-
what did your duties consist of there? Learning how to, did you in fact have to learn how to, I'll say, explode gas into the enemy as opposed to receiving it, and how to act and react to it?
Yeah, we had to, and we got mostly just tear gas.
Okay,
I
but
mean-
you know when you had it, take off that mask
Yeah,
and you cried like
and-
hell.
But you learned about the rest and how they react and what, how do you treat it.
Okay.
And there was a lot of it. And we found that Germany was using a lot. And
They had used gas in World War II?
no, they hadn't used it yet
You just said they were using it.
in the First World War.
Oh, you didn't
I'm
say
sorry,
that.
Yeah.
You got to watch your wars, buddy. Because
Yeah,
we have enough to go
that's
around, so
right.
pick the right one.
Yeah,
Okay, we know that, you know.
yeah.
And there was that fear that they might be doing it again.
Right, and that was supposedly why we were in the non-combatant condition. When we could change to combat very easily, but we weren't set up for that.
Okay, so you're in the reserves in effect. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, where and when did you leave for Europe?
Well, there's lots in there between. While we were doing our getting conditioned, an officer came in and they said, he named 10 of us, and he says, go to camp headquarters and take an exam. And we went to camp headquarters, and they said, how would you like to go to college? And I said, what?
That's a dumb question. Go ahead.
And we took an exam, and when we took it was about half through the exam, written exam, the officer came back again, and he says, soon we're going to have another group of officers review you, and you'll see how'd you like to go to college? And okay. And so we finished the test, and they looked at some of our grades, and they called our names right then, and he says, we're going to give you a review now. And they,
Were you in that group?
yeah.
Obviously. Okay.
And they said, I'll let you know. Then we went back to the regular service, and they put us on orders to move. And we nothing, just waited. And finally, one Sunday, we got an order to go to California. And we left on Monday because nobody was there. We were all out on weekend leave.
Okay.
So we went to California.
Where in California?
And,
Any particular college or base?
no, this was, well, yeah, it was, and, or, just, Indio, California.
Okay.
Okay. And Desert Training Center. And we went all the way from Texas to California. And we had to set the tents up, pyramidal tents.
Mm-hmm.
On Monday, or no, it was Tuesday, we got there to California, and we were in the second tent, and they called my name, and they says, "You're going to the University of Minnesota." I got a note from them, that test we'd taken, and we went ASTP. It was, they sent you to college.
What, to study chemistry? To study chemistry, metallurgy, or what?
Well, yes, that's what.
Yes, what?
We didn't know. We were
Oh,
just going
okay,
to
all right.
college free. And we went for 6 months to do that. And then
What were you studying?
chemistry.
Okay, I asked, but
Yeah.
you didn't say yay or nay. Okay.
Yeah. And we were taking courses that were just packed with everything. You got
About 8 hours a day, study.
yeah, a little more than that.
After that time was over, then where were you next assigned, based on your tests?
Yeah. And so that went on for a year.
You just said 6 months.
Yeah. I started out for 6 months, and then it went
Were
on.
they getting another 6 months extension?
Yeah.
That's not rough duty.
So then we ended up a year.
Okay, and then what?
And then all of a sudden they said, "You're done." Just like that, we didn't finish any courses or anything. We finished individual courses,
Okay.
but we didn't get a degree at that point.
All right.
All right.
Anything noteworthy in that study period? How were you always studying, or did you have a chance to go out and meet people, go out on leave or liberty?
Oh, you just took courses,
Nothing else?
nothing else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that you're all done, where did you go next?
Infantry.
Okay. And then what?
And then I was in the 44th Infantry Division. And we went in fall of 43, or 40,
44.
44.
That'd be better, yeah.
Yeah. And we landed in Normandy. So,
Were you in the Normandy invasion or after the invasion?
well, one day after the invasion.
Okay, D-Day plus one.
Yeah.
Was it still noisy?
Yeah, we were, and they put us in training for
Well,
Normandy.
when you landed on the beach, were you able to go up the cliff and onto
we
the
came into
land?
Cherbourg Harbor, and the ship pulled right into Cherbourg Harbor, and it was the first one that came from the United States directly, and it didn't go as a landing ship.
Okay.
So then we had to take training there in infantry. And then
Well, when did you start pushing into Germany?
we didn't see the Germans right away.
I know that.
Yeah.
When did you start so that we get some idea? I'm just trying to build a calendar.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Well, about a month.
And where were you heading? Any idea? From battle to battle, city to city, town, or what?
Well, we went to places we didn't know where we were.
Okay.
Okay.
We all ended up in that
Yeah,
place, somewhere along the road.
And we were going where Patton was going,
Okay.
just following him up at that time.
All right.
And
Well, when did you actually get in combat?
about it was, I want to get it right here. About October.
Okay. And how long were you in on the line?
Well, that's the
And
first.
that's what I'm trying to
that's
build up.
100
You got a combat infantry badge and a Bronze Star.
100
They don't give you
days.
that for having good mess kits. Can you
100
tell us
days.
about that, if you will?
And it's combat infantryman charge. And it's a badge and a ribbon.
Yep.
All about. After you've had 100 days of direct combat, they give you the badge.
They don't give it to you. You earned it.
Well,
There's a hell of a difference, buddy.
yeah.
Okay. What did you do to, I have a citation here, I think. The Bronze Star. May I read it?
Oh, go ahead.
Bing, 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 bing. To all people who see these presents, the Bronze Star Medal is awarded to Corporal. Oh, you finally got a promotion.
Yeah, right.
William Rolke, United States Army, for meritorious achievement in ground combat against the armed enemy during World War II in the European, African, Middle Eastern theater of operations, given this day by, I guess it's General somebody squiggle. I can't read that name. Okay, now, can you identify what you did that you earned that award?
Yeah.
Oh, please. Okay, yeah. Well, now tell us.
Yeah.
Boy,
Well,
what was going on that made you do whatever you did?
we were chasing the Germans across France. And if you took it was combat with rifles. We had a small amount of battle with targets, with the rockets of.
You were now were a combatant. You were
Oh, yeah,
no longer
yeah.
a
You
non-combatant.
hear this thing coming at you,
Okay.
and that if it stopped, the rocket, it would purr, and if the target ran out of gas, or the rocket ran out of gas, it just dropped. You didn't know where it was going to drop.
No, just a buzz bomb?
Bomb,
Something like
yeah,
a buzz bomb?
Mm-hmm.
You were shooting back at them or they're shooting at you?
They were shooting at us.
That's not friendly, is it?
Mm-hmm.
That's not very friendly.
No, it isn't.
No. How long did that barrage last?
Well, they were happening until almost the end of the war.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where were you when the war ended?
I was in Germany.
Doing what?
I was still infantry.
Okay.
Okay, we had been put on side. I mean, because the war wasn't real bad at that point, because we were taking the Germans faster than we could even put them away and
Put them where you mean a PW campus, not putting them in the ground.
No, yeah, we're
Okay,
talking
you
about,
got to watch the words. All right.
yeah. Yeah, they were getting prisoners faster than they could
Okay.
catch them.
Well, I have something here that your son gave me. Where is it? Oh, here, I'm looking at it. I'll hold this up for the camera to take a good look at it. Now, this is something you say you got from one of the PWs?
Yeah.
Did they have that on their battle jacket or inside or in duffel bags? How did you come by it? Just frisking them as they're going by?
It just, he had it, and we said, give me. You just take it from him.
Okay, that's...
Yeah.
Oh,
It didn't hurt him in any
No,
way. It
you
just
couldn't.
ripped it off.
no.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
when the war was finally over and there was no work, where were you stationed? Because I noticed you got up to one of Hitler's homes somewhere,
Yeah.
on leave or somehow. Can you tell us how you got there and what that was like?
Okay. I had get trained, yes, and we were taking care of soldiers that had been in the hospitals or wounded or something, or frozen feet or whatever, been in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
We were bringing them back to their original outfits.
Oh, repatriating them.
Yes.
Okay.
And we went back and saw a lot of these people that had been back to the infantry, and we got them back there, and that we had a picture there of a building where we were repatriating them, and the question that would take us back to the combat. We hadn't seen much combat. We were mostly getting injured women, not women, men, and sending them back to their old outfit. Audition. So
These are the Germans you're talking about, not your people. These are the Germans you're repatriating.
no,
Your own?
Americans were.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
We were getting them out of our own hospitals and put them back with their outfit.
Okay, so that would help them. Now, as I said earlier, you had gotten up to one of Hitler's houses.
Yeah.
How and when did that happen? Was that on a spur of the moment? It just happened to be by the area, or you had to leave and took it?
Well, when we took one group back, we knew where it was. Boy, it was near Austria.
Oh, was that up in the mountains?
The mountains, yeah. Yeah. This was near the end of the war.
I would hope so.
Yeah. Well, Hitler had just just killed himself, just shot himself, but that was in Berlin, and we were in the mountains, in the Alps.
Mm-hmm. Was it a grand place, or very pompous?
His was, yeah. There's a number of buildings, and he had his own shock troopers in a store or in a like a hotel.
A plush hotel.
Yeah, right. And he had, there was a road up to the house, and along that road was most of Hitler's soldiers,
Most of
or
the
the
SS
FF
Wehrmacht.
and so forth.
Okay.
And they would come, lived along that road. And so when they captured them, the troops were going back, and they had the piece of paper, this thing on. They wore these.
Okay.
So
They
he
were
just said that
identifiable.
they were.
Okay. Now, one place along in our earlier talk, you said you interviewed von Braun. Can you tell us about
Okay.
that? How did that happen?
Well, it was yeah. Yeah. When we were taking people home,
Now, what people? Americans or Germans?
okay, we were taking American people to them. They were going home from hospitals too. And von Braun got to the Americans and said he wanted to be taken by the Germans, because the Germans were going to kill Braun if they could, because he designed the rockets,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't want him to
You
bring
give
this
that
stuff.
knowledge out, yeah.
So he was
So
trying
it was
to
the
show.
Americans bringing von Braun to America.
Yeah, and von Braun was, Americans wanted to kill him up to a time and everything. So now, von Braun, I didn't meet him directly for a time, came until after the war.
All right.
I was working in the physics building, and
Okay, there's a hiatus in there. Can you tell
Oh,
us
yeah.
what was going on in that interim?
well, it's completely about a year's difference. The war was over
Okay.
by when I met him.
All right.
I was working on high altitude balloon to work in the physics department at the University of Minnesota.
Okay.
I had gone back
You've gone back to that. Okay, that's a good question then. Did you then take advantage of the GI Bill to
That's
continue
just what I
your
was going to
education?
say, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And I got a job in this physics department. And we were setting up a balloon every 2 weeks. And
For what purpose?
high altitude research on cosmic rays. It was they didn't know what cosmic rays were at that point.
The comic books hadn't identified by then. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, somewhere along the line, I think you said you met and married one of your friends.
Yeah.
When did you come? Court?
I came back in 46.
Okay.
Got married in 46. And I married quite a woman, because she was aeronautical engineering with,
She was a student or a teacher?
I was a student, and she had taken the courses to be aeronautical engineer and was working at the chemistry and
At University of Michigan?
at Minnesota.
Okay, excuse me, Minnesota.
We're both, it's Minnesota,
Okay.
yeah. And she was working there too.
Okay. And you then were married at when?
In May of '46.
Okay.
And we, the place my wife worked during the war, they made 5,000 airplanes.
That Curtis Grumman or something? Which was it now?
And so it was lots of things. So, okay, now let's get back. So one day I was working down in the cosmic ray research lab, and one of the people's in the labs said, "Bill, they want to send a guy up to meet you. He wants to talk to you." So I'm, okay. Fella came up with a French or German insight, and I didn't know who he was at that point. And they said it was German. And von Braun. So he looked at my artwork, and he talked, and then he says, "How would you like to work for me?" I said, "Well, what do you got?" He says, "I've got 7 rockets." I said, "What are you going to do with them?" He says, "Well, we're going to fire 6, and then we're going to take one to take it apart and see what's in it."
Now, were these rockets that he'd brought over from Germany?
These are the German
Okay.
rockets. And I said,
This is long after the war was over.
yeah.
All right, good. Now, what happened to that interview? Did you then get to work with him or for him?
No, I said, not with that kind of a record.
Well, where did you end up working?
RCA, Advanced,
Doing what kind of research?
all kinds.
Okay, they're very specifically opened.
It is.
All right.
All right. Everything, we had one guy making thousands of record or patents because the new electronics was coming out.
That the new thing, the transistor that nobody would pay attention
Okay.
to.
So RCA had a vacuum tube patents for if you had an old book from RCA, they got patents on all their works, RP.
Surrounding every tube.
And the reason for that was you could use their patents, but not try to, you could use, not try to commercialize.
Okay.
So that was what happened. That I don't know, we got into that.
Just, we're running out of time. I want to get a
Okay.
couple of quick questions in. Now, how about your family? You said you've been married, what, 65 years for the same gal?
Yeah,
How's the family life been? How has you enjoyed your family life since then?
very much.
Okay.
Very much. It's-
Everybody doing all right?
Yeah, we have 4 boys and a number of grandchildren, and everything's quite great. My wife passed away a couple of years ago.
That kind of put a damper on things.
Yeah, but
Unfortunately, we say the same thing.
mhm.
Wrapping it up a little bit, if you will, with all you've seen and done and where you've been, 4 and a half, would you say that your service life has been positive or negative as how it's impacted the way you have lived your life?
Positive.
In what manner? Can you identify it?
And did a lot of new things. We were working on new stuff all the time.
Today is obsolete, unfortunately.
Hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you'd like to add or add? Any comments or suggestions? For example, would you, the way the economy is today, would you suggest to some of these kids that are getting out of high school, that don't know what they want to do, look into joining any of the services to take advantage of the different schools available to them? I'm not recruiting, but to see if we could get them a help.
Yeah,
Would that be something worthwhile?
yeah. It was for me.
Okay, so it was a good deal.
It was a crazy road.
A long road,
It was.
a long road. We've seen a lot and we've done a lot.
Hmm. And some people say, well, just how could you meet this person or that person? And we just run into
Just
them
one in
in one engineering group to another.
There's a good networking that goes on unconsciously.
Yeah,
You don't know where it's coming from, but all of a sudden you've got the answer you're looking for.
yeah.
Okay. Well, a couple of words. Thank you, Bill,
Okay,
or William, whichever one you're going to call, for your service and your time
okay.
today. Okay, folks, I think that's a wrap up. Again, I'm reminding you of that phone number, 211. But more important, as we just ended, to you guys and gals who may be undecided what you'd like to try to do, or those of you who have something to tell, you finally figured you can do it, come and see us. We'll do all we can to make this a worthwhile venture. And remember, we're fighting the clock and the calendar, so don't keep putting off till tomorrow. I'm being gloomy, but none of us know when our last tomorrow is going to be. So please, come and see us if you will. Bob Seen saying thank you. Stay healthy.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.